Today my guest is Kathleen Willman, who is an FCPS teacher as well as an accomplished author. Welcome, Kathleen.
Well, thank you.
I have to tell you, I have a secret wish to become like you, to write a book. I am really a writer by trade, and so I'm delighted to have you on the show today. Tell us about how you decided to become an author and what inspired you.
Oh, well, I started writing. Actually, I'll just tell you, I got a lot of encouragement from my English teacher when I was a freshman. I wrote one paper and she wrote on it, "This paper is outstanding." And I got this idea, well, gee, maybe I have a knack for this. And then I remember I really started to take it more seriously in 1982. I started writing letters to the editor. And from there on, I just started to grow from there. That's a good way, it's like you get published. That's your first experience of publishing.
Right.
And then I started to write essays. I went into film school and I studied screenwriting. So my uncle's a screenwriter. So I just naturally gravitated towards that when I was studying film. I took an honors course, wrote a lot more essays. And then I started writing film essays. And then I went on to write 2 screenplays. And what inspired me to write Gadfly, the biography of my father, was a script I wrote called Madman in Our Midst, all about his investigation into the People's Temple, which was a cult in California.
Now, your father was a journalist?
Yes, still is. He's on the radio Monday through Friday night on WCBM in Baltimore. And he has been a member of the White House press corps. He came in with President Nixon.
Oh my goodness.
And he's just decided to retire because he'll be 86 this year.
Oh my goodness.
But he's still on the air, and so he's still going,
And what was your dad's reaction to your book?
Well, Dad is he's a pretty tough critic. He always be honest with you, and he called me when he read the first draft. And he said, "I'm going to be honest with you, it is superb." So I knew I had, struck gold. So,
Wonderful. And you've written another book, too, called Dogs of War.
Yes, and I actually started this book long before I wrote Gadfly. I got the idea for it when I was looking at a book called Patton, A Genius for War, all about General Patton. And I looked through the pictures and I found a photo of his dog, his bull terrier, Willie, who was grieving the general had died, and he was lying on the rug next to his footlockers and briefcase. This is one of the most beautiful photos I've ever seen. Just melt your heart. And I've got to write a book on this dog.
Oh my goodness.
It just a light bulb went off.
Right.
I thought, well, that's going to be a short book, and this is a short book. I decided to add another dog, which was Fala, which is one of my favorites. Everybody knows he was the most famous first dog in history. President Roosevelt's during World War II. And so I thought, well, these are 2 dogs of World War II, so we'll start with those. And I put it on the back burner because I was going back to school to learn, get my teaching license. And I sent it to a lot of agents. Everybody rejected it. But once Gadfly was published, I decided to pitch the idea of Dogs of War to my publisher, and they liked it. They said, "There's only one thing we'd like you to do, add a 3rd dog." I thought, well, okay, a 3rd dog. Well, I know Telek. Telek belonged to General Eisenhower. Now, Telek had gotten in a fight with Willie. So that was the only thing I knew about him. But then I started doing my research, and I came across a couple of books about Kay Summersby. Her bio, she was Eisenhower's driver and assumed girlfriend. So they actually shared Telek. So I thought, wow, there's romance. So that actually was a very interesting part to write, of course.
So how has your experience as an accomplished author impacted your classroom teaching?
Well, I think a lot. For one thing, I was very fortunate. I was given an opportunity to be on CNN for an interview, and I showed the interview to the students, and they just loved it. And I think that this created a really special bond between me and my students. So that's very important for teachers, to have a rapport with students. They want to feel comfortable with you. They want to look up to you, and I think they did even more so when they saw me on CNN.
Right, absolutely.
So that was very exciting.
Yeah.
But also, when I'm on my 3rd book right now, when I'm writing, I'm really honing my skills as an educator, because I am writing, revising, editing. I'm proofreading. I'm looking at the thesaurus and the dictionary. I'm also conducting research. So I'm using all the skills for myself that I do with my students.
So what would you advise young people or even adults like myself in terms of a career in publishing? What advice would you give us?
Well, just keep at it. Get a book, get a copy of Writer's Market. And what really helped me was, of course, my connection with my father, because he writes for the same company that publishes these books. So if there's any connections that you can use, anyone that you know of who works for a publishing company, that can certainly help. Agents, certainly send queries to agents, but Writer's Market is a wonderful resource for finding out how you can get, your manuscripts looked at.
And how do folks buy your book, which I must say you write under the name of Kathleen Kinsolving, your maiden name.
Yes, I thought Kathleen Kinsolving Willman might be a little long, so I decided just to use Kinsolving since it is already a published name by my uncle and my aunt. You can find it on Amazon.com, but also, of course, WND Books. They have it on their website.
All right.
So.
Well, thank you very much for being with us.
Well, thank you. Thank you.